What's up and welcome back to the channel. The name is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell up above for future uploads. Thank you. So here we have an image from Mcfarlane and it's of his DC Multiverse, or it should probably be renamed as the Batman Multiverse, seeing as how there's so many Batman characters, of a Batman Beyond, or for people over this side of the pond, Batman of the Future. So Batman of the Future, or Batman Beyond, was a TV series that was created and it followed after the events of the original Batman the Animated Series and Justice League cartoon, in that it was a futuristic version of Batman who was given the mantle by Bruce Wayne, and Terry McGinnis inhabited the new Batsuit that was created for him. An interesting story and one that is beloved by many fans, and this is a character that an awful lot of people do love and do like. So it's quite a surprise to see Mcfarlane taking a stab at this character so early into the line, given that he hasn't looked more so forward in the line in terms of futuristic characters as of yet. Interesting to see that he's picked this one, and even though Mcfarlane has a 3-year license, which we're coming around now, I think, to the 4th year being over, he has 2 years left, and I think he's probably right in terms of him trying to get fan favourite characters out there quite quickly so that he will see some sort of profit. Are the profits going to continue? I'm not really sure, but he does now know how to do things in terms of articulation and what fans actually want to see. I think the scaling is still somewhat of an issue when you look at this line being 7 inch. It's quite large, and for an awful lot of people that wanted to have these fit in then with other 6 inch figures, they do seem too large. So I do think myself that there is a problem with that. I also think the articulation and lack thereof in some of the figures causes a big problem. But there's one thing that you can't deny, and that is the sculpt of these figures. The sculpt of them is done fairly good. The head sculpts on a lot of figures, though, I will say, are incredibly weak. And I think when you look at this one, he is going to try and do something a little bit different with this one in terms of re-releasing it again. And I'm going to explain as this video goes on. So we have Terry here in a flight pose. We have boosters, and as we can see here, there's one peg hole that goes into the bottom of the foot of this character, and he has essentially 2 boosters used at the feet. It's a good idea. I think it's a clever idea. It's something that Terry did use in the animated series, and instead of having like clips going around his leg, which would have made the legs look a lot thicker, particularly at the ankles, it certainly does fit in a lot nicely, and a lot more nicely with the figure overall. One thing that does look quite strange, and even in the Mcfarlane sort of review himself of talking about the figure, is there are these wings on the back, and the wings can move up and move down. Now, he didn't mention in the video whether they are removable, so that would lead me to suggest that it's possible that this could be a fixed position. The wings may not be removable, and it could then say to me that Mcfarlane plans to re-release this figure again without the wings, instead of giving you all of the figure all in one, if you know what I'm saying. I would imagine if he does decide to do that he is going to either have an alternate Terry McGinnis head, or he's going to have a gritting teeth version of this Batman. Now, he also said that he wanted to keep the body particularly a matte black and a shiny red symbol here for the bat. Both sides of the wings are red, and it's quite curious as well to hear Mcfarlane talk when he's talking about these figures and where he's getting the inspiration from, because it seems like that this DC Multiverse is more of an inspiration driven line rather than a bang on, this is how they looked in this media and I'm giving it to you version of events. Now, I'm someone that really likes to see a 2D or a 3D image and for it to be perfectly represented and recreated in a toy, and it's something that I like to hold. I don't personally like when they decide to take these artistic licenses and artistic differences in terms of sculpt and make it not look like anything in particular, which kind of has a knockoff effect about it. I mean, there's Transformers that do that. They don't quite look like a certain character, but you know what it is, that character. And Mcfarlane's gotten into that kind of zone now for me where it's like, I'm not really referencing this certain thing, I'm kind of referencing it, and I'm referencing 3 or 4 things, and here's this character, and it's like, yeah, kind of, I get what you're doing, but like, if you're giving me a Batman Beyond from the Batman animated series, give me that. I don't want this kind of hodgepodge of different versions of it, and it's like, well, this is your Batman from the animated series. No, it's not. So I want to see further clarity from Mcfarlane. I would rather he ditch the card art, because I only think it actually makes him look worse when it's like, this is what we're referencing and it looks nothing like the character. I'm speaking particularly about the animated series figures. But it seems like I said before, he seems to respect certain artists and doesn't respect others. For example, he does Greg Capullo's work perfectly. He does Sean Gordon Murphy's work perfectly, represents them in a figure form, and then he makes a mess then of the Arkham Asylum figure. What's that about? I don't really understand that. I don't get what he's trying to do there. So it seems like that is a problem that is constant in Mcfarlane. What is this from? Is it from a certain comic? Is it from the TV show? Is it a hodgepodge of them all? Is it a mix of all of these versions of the character, and you're just trying to hope to sell on the Batman Beyond name? What exactly is it? Also, something he hasn't really talked about as well too is the scale problems that have been plaguing this line since the start. It doesn't look like it's going to be changed, folks. So it means then that he's just going to plough on doing what he's doing. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed the Batman metal stuff in terms of the evil Batman, and that's kind of been about it for me. The Mcfarlane stuff is going on discount where I am, and that's unheard of for an awful lot of figures. And I mean deep discount. I'm talking about half price. That is unheard of, because these things are clogging the shelves. Now, why are they clogging the shelves? Is it because they don't look like the art they're trying to represent, or they're allegedly trying to represent? Possibly. Is it because people don't want 7-inch figures in their lines? Possibly, because they take up an awful lot of space. Is it because they're lacking articulation that an awful lot of people have decided not for me? Very possible. Is it also because Mcfarlane are behind the game in terms of face print technology on the faces? I would say most definitely. Because if you have this figure, for example, well, not this figure exactly, but you think about the Wonder Woman 1984 figure, you're holding that in your hands, you're holding the Marvel Legends. Which ones look better? It's the Marvel Legend. And I hate to say that, because I'm a massive DC fan. But he needs to be clearer on where this stuff is coming from. I would rather him do, like, this is my interpretation of this character, rather than saying, right, I'm giving you a Batman from the animated series. Just stop with that now, please. Just call it a day and just say, look, I'm doing my own thing now. I would respect that more than kind of trying to give us something and it's half-hearted, and then again, then you're pushing against the fans by saying, well, we want articulation, and then you're giving us kind of strange articulation. I'm hoping that this guy is probably the most articulated figure in the line, and it's something I will be picking up because I love the character and I want to support the character. But again, it does make it more difficult when the guy who's running the show is like, oh, it's referencing the comic book, but it's also referencing the animated series. I mean, what exactly are you doing? It seems like the guy doesn't really know what he's doing himself, and it's quite strange for a person who's running a company as long as he is to not really know. And it's just serving to annoy fans. I mean, a lot of people are really happy about this one, and then an awful lot of other people were like, no, I'm passing on that. So that's where we're at now. This was a reveal kind of out of nowhere. He's also put the Red Hood out now from a 2-pack into a single pack. And that's probably not going to go down too well either. So we'll wait and see what happens on that one. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. Make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below. What do you think of this figure? Will you be picking it up? Do you agree with me on what's going on with the Mcfarlane stuff at the moment, in terms of a lot of it's disinteresting and it seems to be missing the mark? Do you think that this should be a 6-inch scale series? Do you think that they should probably abandon it fairly soon and try to go to a 6-inch scale and basically put the line on par with Marvel Legends? Or is there a part of you that hopes that after the 3 years are done and maybe the license is up for grabs, that Hasbro just gets it and then it's hunky-dory, everyone's happy? Because right now, I can see what's going to happen with this. It's going to be an alternate figure, no wings, alternate head, maybe a Terry McGinnis head, and that's how he's going to try and get you with this one. Look, I can't say that that's a bad thing. He's a businessman. He's trying to make business, but then he does weird things like, oh, you can put the wings up at the back there and make it look like an extended collar like Spawn. This guy doesn't have a clue. He really doesn't, and that just serves to add to the purpose of like people being frustrated with him, and that's where it's at. Good luck.